The student says,
And in Kambaram. And here, this analogy I would like to compare it with myself. Because I'm also like a cat with all desire coming up to lick it up the ocean of milk like above Kambarama. In Julius Caesar, a line will come like this. Like a colossus, Julius Caesar stands. And I crawl beneath the feet of Julius Caesar like a lily bush. And I also feel like that to talk about Kamban even for 1 hour or so is very, very difficult. Because such a great poet Kamban is. And to talk about him, to say a few words about Kamban for 1 hour or so. I would like to thank Dr. Karthik for 2 reasons. One is the choice of the title. And the other one is arranging this function with great resource persons about indigenous literature, which is the need of the hour today. Because we talk about British, we talk about Americans, we talk about all the people in the globe, except ourselves. சில பேர் போய் கேட்டோம்னா சொல்லுவாங்க யுகோஸ்லோவியா பத்தி சொல்லுவான், அமெரிக்கா பத்தி சொல்லுவான், பல விஷயங்களை பத்தி சொல்லுவான். நம்ம போய் அவர்கிட்ட கேட்போம், டேய் கோவிந்தசாமி வீடு எங்கடா இருக்கு? அவனுக்கு தெரியாது, ஏன்னா பக்கத்து வீட்டுக்காரனா இருக்கும். அது மாதிரி see, we talk about so many things except our own. So indigenous literature and native literature or literature about aborigines is the need of the hour. So I thank Dr. Karthik for having chosen this wonderful topic. I think it is thought-provoking topic. So many writers, millions and millions of gems are with us. Even at a glance, you can see some short stories. I think all of you know Jaymohan's Sotru Kanak. Some of you may have heard about the short story. Say something about my topic. My topic is reflections on Tamil culture in Kambaram. But actually, what I want to say through my topic is not with an intention of undermining the original, definitely. Because just a moment ago, I was reciting the poem of Kamban, Osai Factory, like a cat. How humbly Kamban places himself before Valmiki. So that's not my intention. My intention, it is a universal story, no doubt about it. It talks about brotherhood, it talks about love, it talks about Aram, Dharma, and it talks about so many things. That is universal. You may ask me, is it in Tamil alone? How do you connect these two? And my answer for this is actually, though Kamban borrowed the plot line from Sanskrit, Valmiki, he could not help expressing himself, Tamil culture everywhere in the epic. And I also thought that my topic would have been better if I put like this, Valmiki and Kamban. I thought like that. Because near to the title of the seminar, I want to put it like that. But actually, what all Valmiki missed, Kamban introduces in Kambaramaya. So, at the same time, I would like to say, I need to be bilingual in this an hour or so, because the translation of certain lines, in Kambaramayanam would not be satisfying you. I think most of you here are Tamil. I think you don't mind me saying certain verses in Tamil. Because whatever translation you make, it seems some kind of insufficiency. For example, take the word Dharma or Aram. That word alone, translated in English, the equivalences seem to be insufficient. For example, if you translate Aram as virtue, you feel something is missing. Aram, the word Aram, in English, the equivalent, virtue, wisdom. Like that, if you put Dharma, even for the word Dharma, I feel the translation would be not very exactly near to that. So I am obliged to say or give my lecture bilingually at times. Great scholars on Kamban, early scholars, I mean, setting aside all Pattimandavams and all that now, they are all doing very beautifully about Kamban. Setting aside the modern day scholars, the great scholars of the past. For example, V.V.S. Iyer was the first scholar and critic to render Kambaramayanam in English. And that too, he delivered that when he was in jail, when he was imprisoned. And the whole story he rendered in English, chaste English, on certain occasions, he gives the actual poetic translation of Kambarama. P.V.S. Iyer, and thereafter Professor P.S. Sundaram, Tamil scholars Vayyavadi Pillai, long ago, and Subramaniam, who was the professor of Tamil department here, and many scholars, Vasubha Manikam. And at this juncture, I would like to say a few words about our Annamalai University edition of Kambarama. All the 6 Gandas or cantos, Gandam, Tamil, Gandam. All the 6 cantos have been given with so much explanations, paraphrasing, and references, cross-references. We, the English people, used to say in those times, our professors, particularly in those times, in the 70s, if I don't have a copy of Auden Shakespeare, they will send us out. Shakespeare, we should have only Auden Shakespeare, which is the edition, which is the best edition possible. For Milton, Verity. If we do not have such edition, they will ask us to get out of the class. After seeing the Annamalai University publication of Kambarama, all the Gandams of Kambarama, starting from Balagandam, Ayodhya Gandam, Aranya Gandam, Kitkinda Gandam, and Uddha Gandam. And one Ganda, Uttara Gandam, is said to have been written by Kamban, and that's a controversy, let us leave. Totally 6 cantos are there. And more than 183 padalas, 10,563 songs, verses. 10,563 verses. All the things have been rendered in our all the things have been rendered by our great professors. Not all editions by one scholar. Aranya Gandam might have been done by one Tamil scholar, Vellai Varana, who was also a professor here. Another Ganda would have been done by Kandavani Desika. Like that, all the Gandams of Kambaramayana are given in chaste Tamil with much explanation, beautiful cross-references and all. This is the contribution. I think this is the first contribution made by any university, and our own Annamalai University. Now that, just some 10 years back, I think, I do not know, one professor, he had taken much steps to digitalize it, and the digital versions are available now. Digital version means not the modern technology used. Actually, the photocopies of those editions are actually given and preserved at least. So, and why I am saying all these things? See, you should not think Kambaramayana is merely a translation of Valmiki's Ramayana. It's not a mere translation. It is a transformation. It's a kind of a new creation. It is not mere translation. First of all, we must understand that. And one more thing, very great men and scholars have never created their own stories. Let it be Homer or Virgil, Dante, Shakespeare. Shakespeare never invented stories. All the stories of Shakespeare from Hollinshed's Chronicles, no. They only transform and they give their own. So, as far as my topic is concerned, I would like to see it in two perspectives. One is, you have to look at the original Valmiki and you have to compare it with our own Ramayana. And the next thing is how the cultural aspects have been given, our own local, indigenous, cultural aspects are beautifully given by Kamba. This is my point actually. And without comparing Valmiki, I think it's not possible to understand the unique nature of Kamba. The story was available even before Valmiki wrote Kamba Ramayana. The story of the story of Ramayana was available long back. I will say about that later on. First, let me tell you about look at this price of Kamba by great men. Our own Bharati, Yamarinda Pulavarile, Kambanai Pol, first Kamban comes. Yamarinda Pulavarile, Kambanai Pol, Valluvan Pol, Bhumidanil, Yanganume, Pirandaville. Unmai Verum Pugichiala. This is Bharati, Subramanian Bharati. And V.S. Iyer was the one who first translated Kamban in English. I said Kamban's heroes and heroines are beings of a decidedly higher stature than that of Valmiki. He knew both Sanskrit and Tamil. He has thoroughly read both Valmiki and Kamba Ramayana, and he says that it is decidedly of higher stature than that of Valmiki. Another great man, George L. Hart. I think some of you might have heard about him. And he was a great scholar in Sanskrit as well as in Tamil. He was a professor emeritus in California University. And his focus was on the relationship between Sanskrit and Tamil. That was his focus. And he has also translated Ayodhya Ganda and Aranya Ganda in English. And not only that, he was the first man who recommended Tamil language for the classical status, even before the Tamil Nadu government was fighting for that. George L. Hart, such a great scholar. And he was also awarded by our government the Padma Bhushan Award. such a great scholar, George L. Hart was. Look at his words. As far as I know, there is no poet as great as Kamban in the whole world. How does he say that? Because he knew Greek, he knew Latin, he knew everything, almost all the languages. A great linguist. And after studying all these languages and ethics, he came to a conclusion like that and said like this. Look at the greatness of our Kambaramai. But he is the most admired writer. At the same time, he is also most neglected writer also. Because of certain politics. Even Kamban himself says that in his prayer songs. Ulagam ennai igalum. He says, by writing and translating this, Ulagam ennai igalum. Adavati enakku kavai illa. ஆனா அந்த தெய்வமாக்கவியினுடைய பெருமையை பத்தி சொல்லாம என்னால இருக்க முடியாது அப்படின்னு கம்பனே சொல்றாங்க. அப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு கம்பன், அப்படிப்பட்ட இந்த பெரிய பெரிய எழுத்தாளர்கள்லாம் அவரை பத்தி ரொம்ப நல்லா சொல்றாங்க. இதை விட நம்ம இப்போ அன்றாடம் பாக்குறீங்க, யூடியூபை திறந்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க பார்க்கலாம். Now let us see the great cultural tradition of Tamil. Only three things I am going to say. Only three things. This is also said by Dr. George Hart. Literary Tamil was as old as 300 BC. Literary Tamil was found even in 300 BC. Tolkappiyar, second one. Tolkappiyar's grammar was older than Panini's grammar. And number three, interesting. Tamil phonetic system, after these years, many years, is still being preserved. Is still being preserved. So many languages, the phonemic systems have been changed. But Tamil still preserves its phonemic things, sounds. I started to say something about the Ramayana story available even before Valmiki. Ramayana story was available and there are references about it in Purananuru. In Purananuru. Ravana abducted Sita and Rama went to wage war with Ravana is referred to in Purananuru some 2000 years ago. There are references in Purananuru songs. In Silappadigaram, which was written in 2nd century AD. In 2nd century AD, Silappadigaram was written in 2nd century AD. Just to calculate the period. Even in that Silappadigaram, there is a reference to Ramayana story and idu nedumozhi endro Ravanan Sithaiயை கவர்ந்த கதை வந்து 2nd century எழுதப்பட்ட சிலப்பதிகாரத்துல இது நெடுமொழி என்றோ காலங்காலமா பேசிட்டு இருக்கிற கதை என்றோ அப்படின்னு இளங்கோடிகள் சொல்றாரு. அப்போ நீங்க அந்த பழமையை பார்க்கணும். The story was available even before Valmiki wrote. There are myths. Ramayana is a myth. Myth na neenga vera meaning la false or unicorn is a myth. Annam is a myth. Namak theriyada annam nu onu irundha illaya nu namak theriyadhu. But the myth na false nu artham. But inga myth na enna stories available in those times to tell about certain good things to the society. About a hero, for example, about a hero's journey. And during the journey, he might have encountered so many things. And he may encounter or merge with evil, the good and evil merge. And he establishes Aram and finally returns to his native place. This is how almost all the myths in the world are set according to Levi-Strauss. Levi-Strauss, a social anthropologist, also learned all the myths in the world are social foundations. Actually, they are the social foundations upon which all our art, literature, and everything rests. Joseph Campbell no writer சொல்றாரு. அவர் தான் the author of famous a hero with 1,000 faces. A hero with 1,000 faces. இதெல்லாம் இந்த structuralism அப்படின்னு நம்ம படிக்கிறோம் இல்லையா, ஒரு criticism அதுல வருது. A hero with 1,000 faces னு ஒரு புக் எழுதினார் ஜேம்ஸ் கேம்பல். He wanted to unite all the myths in the world with one formula: separation, initiation, and return. Our கொடுக்கிற formula: separation, initiation, and return. உலகத்துல இருக்க எல்லா ஸ்டோரிஸ்க்கும் இதான் தீம் இருக்கு, இதான் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி he wants to link all the myths in the world. So stories are available for a very long time. And what is important is how do they represent their culture? How do they represent their indigeneousness? அதுதான் பார்க்கணும். இப்போ நம்ம முக்காவாசி நம்மளுடைய மனதுல என்ன எண்ணங்கள் இருக்குன்னா, நம்ம இது ஒரு டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டட் ஒர்க் தானே. கம்பராமாயணம் ஒரு டிரான்ஸ்லேட்டட் ஒர்க். என்னென்னலாம் வால்மீகி சொன்னாரோ அதுல இருக்கு, உண்மைதான் இருக்கு, இல்லைன்னு சொல்ல. But there is a difference between Valmiki and Kambaramayana. Aristotle mentioned one point, peripecia, anagnosis. Kindly pardon me if I pronounce the word wrongly. Peripecia or something like that. Right? Yes. Peripecia, anagnosis, amercia, and catharsis. இதெல்லாம் அரிஸ்டாட்டில் சொன்னார். இதுல இந்த அரிஸ்டாட்டில் இது டிராமாக்காக சொன்னார். அரிஸ்டாட்டில் டிராமா ட்ராஜடிக் நாம்ஸ் எல்லாம் சொல்லும் போது அது அரிஸ்டாட்டில் சொல்றார். ஆனா ஏன் இந்த எபிக்ஸ்க்கும் எடுத்துக்கலாம், ஏன்னா டிராமாவுக்குள்ள குவாலிட்டிஸ் பூரா இந்த எபிக்ஸ்ல இருக்கு. டயலாக் இருக்கு, ஸ்டோரி ரன் ஆகுது, ஒரு இன்டகிரேட்டடா இருக்கிறதுனால இதுக்கும் எடுத்துக்கலாம். அந்த வித்தியாசம் என்னன்னா, வால்மீகிக்கும் கம்பராமாயணத்துக்கும் வால்மீகி அப்படியே ஒரு பிளாட் லைன் மட்டும் கொடுக்குறாரு. It gives only a plot line. அதுல இந்த அரிஸ்டாட்டில் சொன்ன விஷயங்கள் எல்லாமே வரல. அப்கோர்ஸ் அந்த ரெண்டு வருது, பெர்பிஷியா அண்ட் அனக்னாரிசிஸ். அனக்னாரிசிஸ்னா டக்குன்னு ஒரு டேர்ன், கதையில ஒரு டேர்ன் வர்றது, டக்குன்னு ஒரு ரெக்கக்னிஷன், இதெல்லாம் நம்ம சொல்றோம். அனக்னாரிசிஸ்னா ரிவர்சல் ஆஃப் ஃபார்ச்சூன். இது மாதிரிலாம் இந்த விஷயங்கள் எல்லாம் அரிஸ்டாட்டில் கொடுக்குறார். ஆனா இந்த கெத்தார்சிஸ் அல்லது ஹமாஷியா, the weakness, the character weakness, these are all absent in Sanskrit's Valmiki. உதாரணத்துக்கு ரெண்டு விஷயம் நான் சொல்ல போறேன். ரெண்டு கேரக்டர் தான் சொல்ல போறேன். ஒண்ணு கும்பகர்ணன், இன்னொன்னு வாலிபதை போட்டது. இது ரெண்டுமே பாத்தீங்கன்னா மிக மிக அருமையான ஒரு இடங்கள் கம்பராமாயணம். அதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா ராமனே சறுக்கிறான். வாலிபதை படலத்துல ராமனே சறுக்கிறான். I mean, he slips. Raman means who? The man who is very perfect, who is living on the top of the mountain of perfection, a spotless hero. And that spotless hero has a spot. அது பார்க்கணும் அந்த படலத்தில். கும்பகர்ணன் இதுல கும்பகர்ணன் சாண அடிக்கும் போது ராமனுடைய மலர் கரங்கள் நடுங்கலாம். நியாயத்தை பார்த்து கும்பகர்ணன் அவ்வளவு நியாயமான. நமக்கு தெரிஞ்ச கும்பகர்ணன் வேற ஒரு விஷயத்தான் ஞாபகம். நல்லா சாப்பிடுவான், நல்லா 6 மாசம் தூங்குவான், 6 மாசம் முடிச்சிட்டு இருப்பான். 6 மாசத்துல தான் நமக்கு ஞாபகம். அதுல இருக்க விஷயங்கள் நமக்கு தெரியாது. சுருக்கமா சொல்லியிருக்கேன். இப்போ சில விஷயங்களை நம்ம பார்க்கலாம். இந்த தமிழ் ட்ரெடிஷன்ல எப்படி கம்பராமாயணம் வருது அப்படிங்கிறது இப்போ ஒரு பாயிண்ட். அதை பார்க்க போனோம்னா நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி இது நெடுமொழி அன்றோ அப்படின்னு சிலப்பதிகாரத்தில் சொன்னாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் புறநானூற்றிலே அந்த ரெஃபரன்ஸ் இருக்கு. அதுக்கப்புறம் திருவள்ளூர் of 1330 குறள்ஸ், 700 of them have been given as fine literary scenes, beautiful literary scenes by Kamba. அதுக்கு ரொம்ப பெரிய வித்தியாசம். 1330 குறள்ல 700 குறள் ஒரு இலக்கியமாக காட்டப்படுகிறது கம்பன். இதான் தமிழ் ட்ரெடிஷன், இதான் தமிழ் கல்ச்சர். உதாரணத்துக்கு 2 குறள் எடுத்துக்கோங்க. ஒருமையுள் ஆமை போல் 5 அடக்கல் ஆற்று. எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிந்த குறள் தான். ஒருமையுள் ஆமை போல் 5 அடக்கல் ஆற்றின் எழுமையும் ஏமாப்புழைத்து. ஒருமையில்னா ஒரு பிறவி, ஒரு பிறவியில் இந்த 5 குழந்தைகளையும் அடக்கிறதாங்க ராமாயண கதை. One who controls all the 5 senses are great. ஆற்று படலத்தை பத்தி கம்பர் பேசும்போது அந்த பகுதியில வசிக்கிற மக்கள் எல்லாமே இயற்கையாவே 5 குணங்களையும் அடக்குனவங்களா இருக்கிறாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு கம்பர். அதுல ரிவர் சரையூன்னு வரும். அந்த சரையூவை we can symbolically take that as a காவேரி. ஏன்னா இவர் thousands and thousands of placesல அந்த மருத நிலத்தினுடைய அந்த பூ இருக்கு இல்லையா, லோட்டஸ், அதை ரெஃபர் பண்றேன். கம்பன் பயோகிராபி பத்தி எல்லாம் நான் சொல்ல ரொம்ப ஏன்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா அது authentic documentation is not available for Kamban's file. Authentic document நமக்கு கிடைக்கல. சில பேர் சொல்றாங்க 9th century-னா, சில பேர் 12th century-னா, சில பேர் குலோத்துங்க சோழன் 2nd வராரு, குலோத்துங்க சோழன் 3rd வராருங்க. குலோத்துங்க சோழன் கூப்பிட்டு அவர் கவி சக்கரவர்த்திங்கிற பட்டத்தை கொடுக்கிறார். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி பாத்தீங்கன்னா அவர் எங்க பிறந்தாருன்னு கேட்டா தேரெழுந்தூர் நியர் மயிலாடுதுறை, கார்த்திகூர் பக்கத்துல தேரெழுந்தூர், அங்கதான் பிறந்திருக்காரு. சடையப்ப வல்லல் அப்படிங்கிறவர் தான் அவரை எடுத்து வளர்த்து நல்ல பெரிய இவ்வளவு பெரிய ஒரு கவிதை எழுதுறதுக்கு அவர் உதவியா இருக்கிறார். இவருடைய அதர் ஒர்க்ஸ் பாத்தீங்கன்னா சரஸ்வதி அந்தாதி, சடகோப அந்தாதி, சிலை எழுபது, அதெல்லாம் ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸ் ஆகல. இந்த விஷயங்கள் சொன்ன இல்லையா, கம்பருக்கு இவ்வளவு செஞ்சவருக்கு அவருக்கு தனியா ஒரு கதை எழுத தெரியாதா என்ன? கம்பராமாயணம் இல்லாம தனியா ஒரு கதை எழுத தெரியாதா என்ன? ஆனா புறநானூற்றுல அவைலபிளா இருந்த, திருக்குறள்ல ரெஃபர் பண்ணப்பட்ட, அடுத்தது சிலப்பதிகாரத்தில் சொல்லப்பட்ட எல்லா மக்களுக்கும் தெரிஞ்ச கதையான ராமகதை எழுதணும்னா அது போய் நல்ல ரீச் ஆகும். இந்த பர்பஸ்க்காக தான் அவர் எழுதினார். தமிழ் இனம் இதை நல்லா தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், அதுக்கு அந்த பிளாட் லைன் நமக்கு தேவை. So he depended upon the great Valmiki. So அதனால எழுதினார். ஒருமையில் ஆமை போல் ஐந்தடக்கல் ஆற்றின் எழுமையும் ஏமா புடை. 7 பிறவிலையும் அவனுக்கு நல்லது. இந்த காலத்துக்கு ஏற்ற பாடல் புலன்களை அடக்குது. கம்பராமாயணம் முழுக்கவே அதான் வருது. எல்லா கேரக்டருக்கும் கும்பகர்ணன் எதுக்கு ஃபைட் பண்றான் அவங்க அண்ணன், ஒண்டி விட்டுடுறாங்க சீதை, அன்றாடலாம் கேட்க மாட்டேங்கிறாங்க. புலனடக்கம் பத்தி திருவள்ளுவர் ஏற்கனவே பேசியிருக்காரு. இப்போ அவர் 2000 years பேக் இருக்காரு, 9th or 12th century-ல இந்த கதையை எழுதுறாரு. அடுத்து இன்னொரு குறள், முக்கியமான குறள், பிறன்மனை நோக்கா பேராண்மை. பிறன்மனை நோக்கா பேராண்மை. பேராண்மைன்னா இப்ப நம்ம வேற ஏதோ சேஞ்ச் ஆஃப் மீனிங், செமாண்டிக்ஸ் மாதிரி வேற விஷயம் வந்துச்சு. பேராண்மைனா இவன் வேற என்ன நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்கான். பிறன்மனையை நோக்காமல் இருக்குதுதான் பேராண்மை. பிறன்மனை நோக்கா பேராண்மை அரணன்றோ ஆன்ற ஒழுக்கு. அரண் மட்டுமல்ல, அது சிறந்த அறம் மட்டுமல்ல, அதுதான் சிறந்த ஒழுக்கமும் கூட அப்படின்னு சொல்ற 2 குறள். So Kambar knew all these things. Kambar was well aware of all Tamil tradition. அதனாலதான் அவர் நான் ஏற்கனவே சொன்ன மாதிரி not help expressing himself the Tamil culture altogether. நிறைய deviations இருக்கு. சான்ஸ்கிரிட்டுக்கும், சான்ஸ்கிரிட் வால்மீகிஸ் ராமாயணாவுக்கும் இதுக்கும் நிறைய டீவியேஷன். கேரக்டரைசேஷன்ல, சீன்ஸ்ல, இது மாதிரி ஆற்று படலம்னு ஒரு படலமே இல்லை வால்மீகியில. There is no such 16 songs கம்பர் போட்டிருக்க ஆற்று படலம். ஆற்று படலம் தான் ஆரம்பிக்குது. அதனால இத மாதிரிலாம் நிறைய டீவியேஷன்ஸ் பண்றாரு. அதனால தமிழ் இலக்கியத்தை பின்பற்றிதான் கம்பர் கம்பராமாயணத்தை எழுதினார் என்பதை நாமும் சொல்ல, பெரியார்களே சொல்றாங்க, ஐயாபடிக்குள்ளேயே சொல்றாரு. என்ன சொல்றாரு, தமிழ் கல்ச்சர் மனசுல வச்சுட்டு தான் ஃபுல்லாவே எழுதிருக்காரு அப்படின்னு சொல்றது அவருடைய வாதம். அறத்தின் பாதையை உணர்த்துவதற்காக எழுதப்பட்டது. அறத்தின் பாதையை உணர்த்துவதற்காக எழுதப்பட்டது கம்பராமாயணம். ஒழுக்கத்தின் மேன்மையை உணர்த்துவதற்காக, வாழ்வியல் தர்மங்களை உணர்த்துவதற்காக, பாசத்தை பேசுவதற்காக, தியாகத்தை பேசுவதற்காக. சோ இதெல்லாம் தான் வந்து கம்பனுடைய எய்ம், நோக்கம். கம்பன் வாஸ் வெயிட்டிங் ஃபார் an opportunity. இது சொல்றதுக்கு ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடைக்காதா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு he was waiting. அப்போ வந்து சடையப்பவர்கள், குலோத்துங்க சோழன் இவங்க எல்லாம் அந்த ஆஃபரை கொடுக்குறாங்க. அப்படியே லட்டு மாதிரி வாங்கிக்கிறார். he was already waiting for such an opportunity. அப்படியே லட்டு மாதிரி வாங்கிட்டு எழுத ஆரம்பிக்கிறார். So, my point is this. தமிழ்நாட்டு வாழ்த்து பாடல்னு ஒண்ணு வைக்கிறார். முதல்ல வந்து தெய்வமாக்கவிக்கு வந்து அவையடக்கத்தோட ஒரு இது சொல்றாரு. அதுதான் உங்களுக்கு சொன்னேன் ஆரம்பத்திலேயே. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து கடவுள் வாழ்த்து. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா தமிழ்நாட்டு வாழ்த்து. அத்திருத்தகு நாட்டினை அண்டா நாடு ஒத்திருக்கும் என்றால் உரை ஒக்குமோ, எத்திரத்திலும் ஏழு உலகத்திலும் புகழ் முற்றும் முத்தமிழும் தமிழ் முற்றுமோ. தமிழ்நாட்டு வாழ்த்து பாடல். இதெல்லாம் நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா வந்து நான் கொடுத்துருக்க டைட்டில் வந்து அதுல வந்து உங்களுக்கு கொஞ்சம் சந்தேகம் வராது. ஏன்னா அது முக்கியமா நீங்க டைட்டில் ஜஸ்டிபிகேஷன் இஸ் வெரி எசென்ஷியல். ஓகே, நீங்க இன்னொரு விஷயம் இன்னொரு இதா கூட கேட்கலாம். நீங்க அதாவது இது என்ன ஆச்சரியம், தமிழ்ல எழுதிருக்காரு தமிழ் தானே அப்படின்னு கூட நீங்க கேட்கலாம். அவர் அப்படி பார்க்கல. ஆமா, என் பாரதி என்ன சொல்றாரு, பாரதி வந்து சொல்லும் போது ரொம்ப அழகா சொல்றாரு. வள்ளுவனை வந்து தெய்வத்துக்கு கூப்பிடல, ஆனா மானுடக்கதையை எழுதிய கம்பர் சொல்றாரு. பாத்தீங்கன்னா கம்பராமாயணத்துல வந்து ஃபுல்லா ஹியூமனிசம் தான், ஹியூமனிசம் தான். அதனாலதான் பாரதி என்ன சொல்றாரு, வானுரையில வைக்கிறாரு, வானுரை தெய்வமாக வைக்கிறாரு வள்ளுவர். ஆனா மானுடத்தை பற்றி எழுதிய கம்பர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி, மானுடம் தான், மானுடம் தெரிஞ்சுக்க வேண்டிய விஷயம். இது வந்து ஒரு நாட்டுக்கு மாத்திரம் உள்ளது இல்லை, எல்லாருக்கும் உள்ளதுதான். ஆனா அதனாலதான் நான் என் டைட்டில் என்ன போட்டிருக்கேன்னா ரெஃப்ளெக்ஷன் அப்படின்னு போட்டேன். ரெஃப்ளெக்ஷன்ஸ் ஆன் தமிழ் கல்ச்சர். ஏன்னா நான் வந்து இல்ல இது தமிழ் கல்ச்சர் தான் நான் ஆத்தென்டிக்கா சொல்ல முடியாது. ஜான்சன் வந்து ஷேக்ஸ்பியரை பத்தி சொல்லும் போது என்ன சொல்றாரு, universality. He was talking about the universality of Shakespeare. அது ஷேக்ஸ்பியர் இல்ல இங்கிலீஷ் பீப்புள் தான் எழுதுறாருன்னு சொல்ல முடியுமா? He can't say like that. So first இப்போ படிப்படியா ஒரு சில விஷயங்களை சொல்லிட்டு உங்களுக்கு முடிச்சிருக்கேன். முதல்ல வந்து இந்த கோசல நாடு அதை பத்தி சொல்லும் போது ரொம்ப ஃபேமஸான ஒரு போயம் நீங்க எல்லாம் கேட்டுருக்கீங்க. தண்டலை மயில்களாட தாமரை விளக்கம் தாங்க கொண்டல்கள் முடிவின் ஏங்க குவளை கண்விழித்து குவளை கண்விழித்து நோக்க தெண்டிரை எழினி காட்ட தேன்விழி மகரையாழின் வண்டுகள் இனிது பாட மருதம் வீட்டிருக்கும் மாதோ. மருதம்னே கூட my friend was telling about 5 திணைகள். ஓகே, 5 திணைகள்ல இருந்து மருதம், குறிஞ்சி, மருதம், மொய்தல், முல்லை அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு 5 திணைகளை பத்தி சொன்னாங்க. மருத நாடுங்கிறது சோழ நாடு. சோழ நாடு சோர் உடைத்து முதுமொழி. Field and its surroundings. இந்த போயம்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா with lotuses for lands. லோட்டஸ்ங்கிறது மருத நிலத்தினுடைய ஒரு பூ. ஒவ்வொரு திணைக்கும் ஒரு பூ இருக்கு, கடவுள் இருக்கு. இதுக்கு மருத நிலத்துக்கும் கடவுள் இருக்கு. இது மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு இதுக்கும் அந்த வேலை இது மாதிரிலாம் பிரிச்சு வச்சிருக்காங்க. அதை பத்தி நேற்று my classmate was telling, my classmate Dr. Nancy was telling in detail everything about it. With lotuses for lamps, peacocks danced in groves, climbing clouds provided with drum beats, blue lilies unblinking their eyes, the waves of river acted as curtains, and humming bees provided sweeter music than lutes, and presiding over it all, the great king Marugam. This is how the poem is written about the land. அது மட்டும் இல்லாம இன்னொரு இடத்துல அவர் சொல்றாரு, அந்த லேண்டனுடைய ஃப்ளோ எப்படி இருக்குதுன்னா, இந்த லேண்டனுடைய ரிவருடைய ஃப்ளோ எப்படி இருக்குன்னா, மருதம், நெய்தல், குறிஞ்சி, முல்லை எல்லாத்துடைய செல்வங்களையும் எடுத்துட்டு வரலாம். அந்த ரிவர், அந்த flow of the river is such that it integrates all the wealth of all Tinais and it flows gently in Chola kingdom, and this is compared with servants bad people becomes devas and devas becomes bad people. இப்படி கம்பேர் பண்றாரு. எல்லா தினையும் ஒண்ணு சேர்றது அவர் என்ன சொன்னாரு, எப்படி இருக்குன்னா, கெட்டவர்கள் தீயவர்கள் தேவர்களாகவும் தேவர்கள் தீயவர்களாகவும் மாறுறது போல கலந்து வர்றது மாதிரி வந்துட்டு இருக்கு அப்படின்னு இன்னொரு இடத்துல he says. பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா சொல்றாங்க. 16 பாடல் இந்த இதெல்லாம் வருது. அடுத்தது வெல்த்தை பத்தி சொல்றாரு. வெல்த்தை பத்தி சொல்லும் போது எப்படிப்பட்ட ஒரு வெல்த், இன்னைக்கு மாதிரி இல்ல அன்னைக்கு. அந்த ரெஃபரன்சஸ் இருக்கு. எந்த வீடுகளுக்கும் கதவுகளே கிடையாது, திருடர்களே கிடையாது. ஏன்னா எல்லார் வீட்லயும் செல்வம் இருக்கிறதுனால திருடர்களே கிடையாது, செல்வார் இல்லை. அதுக்கு ரெஃபரன்ஸ் கூட இருக்கு. மெகஸ்தனிஸ் wrote in his book Indica that all the doors in the Pandya kingdom were opened. They were not closed. அப்படின்னு ஒரு ரெஃபரன்ஸ் மெகஸ்தனிஸ் டிராவலர் சொல்றாங்க. There was a reference. அது உண்மைதான். களம் சுரக்கும் நிதியம், களம் சுரக்கும் நிதியம். களம்னா வெசல்ஸ், ஷிப்ஸ். இந்த மருதநிலத்துக்கு பக்கத்திலே உங்களுக்கு இது இருக்கு இல்லையா, நெய்தல். அதனால அங்க களம் சுரக்கு, ஃபுல்லா வெல்த் எங்கெங்கயோ டிரான்ஸ்போர்ட் ஆகி கொண்டு எல்லா வெல்த்தும் இங்க கொண்டு வராங்க. களம் சுரக்கும் நிதியம், கணக்கிலா நிலம் சுரக்கும் நிறை வளம், நன்மணி பிலம் சுரக்கும் பெருதற்கு அரியதம், குளம் சுரக்கும் ஒழுக்கம் குடிக்கெல்லாம். குளம் சுரக்கும். ஔவையார் கூட இதை பத்தி சொல்ற. ஔவையார் மேல செழிப்பான லேண்ட்ல நடந்து போனா போறாரு. மேல செழிப்பான மக்கள், அதுல நடக்கிற மக்கள் ஒழுக்கத்தோட இருக்கும். அப்பதான் அந்த நாடு நல்லா இருக்கும். இலங்கையில கூட வெல்த் இருந்தது. ஆனா என்னாச்சு, அந்த கிங் தப்பு செஞ்சுட்டானே. அந்த கிங் ஒழுக்கறியிலேருந்து மாறிட்டாங்க இல்லையா, அந்த வெல்த் யூஸே இல்லாம. சோ இந்த சாங்ல பாத்தீங்கன்னா அந்த நாட்டுல எவ்வளவு வெல்த்தோட வாழ்ந்திருக்காங்க அப்படின்னு நமக்கு தெரியுது. அதுக்கப்புறம் பாத்தீங்கன்னா no evil hence, no death untimely, no unclean thoughts, hence no wrath. Since no virtue was there, since virtue was there, their sole pursuit was they could only rise and never knew fall. கல்வியில பாத்தீங்கன்னா ஒப்பாரும் இல்லை மிக்காரும் இல்லை, எல்லாருக்கும் கல்வி கிடைக்கும். இதெல்லாம் வந்து ரொம்ப அழகா சொல்றாரு. அடுத்தது லவ், காதல். வால்மீகி ராமாயணத்துல பாத்தீங்கன்னா காதல் இல்லை. There's no love. Sita and Rama view each other only after the marriage, only during the marriage. வால்மீகில இந்த மேரேஜ், இந்த வில்ல உடைச்சிட்டு அம்பு உடைச்சிட்டு கல்யாணம் நடக்குது. அது கல்யாணம் நடக்கும் போதுதான் ரெண்டு பேரும் ஒருத்தர் பார்த்துக்கிறதா அந்த பிளாட் லைன் இருக்கு. ஆனா கம்பர் வந்து மிதிலை காட்சி படலம்னே ஒன்னு இன்ட்ரோடியூஸ் பண்றாரு. He introduces a scene called மிதிலை காட்சி படலம். ஒரு செப்பரேட்டா ஒரு படலம். அதுல ராமன் நடந்து வரான் அயோத்தி வீதியில. அப்போ ராமனுடைய அழகு பத்தி நீங்க ஃபேமஸான பாட்டு கேட்டீங்கடா, ஆனூர் வைஸ் சான்சலர் கூட ரெஃபர் பண்ணும். தோல் கண்டார் தோலே கண்டார். ராமனுடைய தோல்ல பார்த்தவங்க தோல்ல மட்டுமே பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தான். தால் கண்டார் தாலே கண்டார். ஏதோ முழுமை எல்லாரும் அவங்கவுங்க ஒரு கண்களை பார்த்தவங்க கண்களை பார்த்துட்டே இருந்தாங்க. யாரும் முழுமையான அழக பார்க்கவே இல்லை அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அப்படி பார்த்துட்டு வரும்போது மாடத்துல சீதா நிற்கிறான். இன்னொரு இடத்துல சொல்லுவார் கம்பர், சோழ நாட்டு வீரர்களுடைய கண்களும் சோழ நாட்டு அழகிகளுடைய சோழ நாட்டு வீரர்களுடைய வாளும் அம்பும் சோழ நாட்டு அழகிகளுடைய கண்களும் எப்போதுமே குறி தப்புனதில்லை. That never misses their aim, their objects. அப்போ சீதாவாஸ் மாடத்துல இருக்கிறார். அப்போ ராமர் வராரு. Whoever loved that loved not at first sight. இல்லையா? Love at first sight. அதே போல இங்க காதல அவ்வளோ அழகா, இதெல்லாம் வந்து வேற வால்மீகி ராமாயணத்தால இல்லை. வால்மீகி ராமாயணம் வந்து சில இடத்துல ஒரு ஸ்கெலிட்டன் மாதிரி இருக்கும். கும்பகர்ணன் ஒரு சபை பிண்டமாக காட்டுறாரு. அதுக்கு எந்த ஜஸ்டிபிகேஷன் இந்த மாதிரியான உரையாடல்கள் எதுவுமே இல்லை. அப்போ இந்த பாடலை பாருங்க. என் அரு நலத்தினல் இளையவள் நின்ற ஊழி கண்ணொடு கண்ணினை நோக்கி ஒன்றை ஒன்று உண்ணவும் நிலை பெறாது உணர்வு ஒன்றிட. இது மூணும். என்னரு நலத்தினல் இணையவள் my partner. இணையவள் நின்ற ஊழி கண்ணொடு கண்ணினை நோக்கி ஒன்றை ஒன்று உண்ணவும். One eye eats another eye. நிலை பெறாது உணர்வும் ஒன்றிட அண்ணலும் நோக்கினாள் அவளும் நோக்கினாள். தமிழ்னாலே வந்து காதல் வீரம் புறநானூற்று காலத்திலேருந்து இருக்கு இல்லையா? புறநானூற்று காலத்திலேருந்தே வந்து காதலுக்கும் வீரத்துக்கும் ஒரு சிறப்பு கொடுத்துட்டே இருக்கிறாங்க எல்லா போயம்ஸ்லயும். ஒரு சினிமால ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து டுயட் சீனே இல்லைன்னா நம்ம அந்த படத்தை பார்ப்போமா? ஒரு உதாரணத்துக்கு ஒரு இமேஜினேஷனுக்காக சொல்றேன். ஒரு படம் இருக்கு, இந்த படத்துல பாடல்களே இல்லைன்னா எவனும் போக மாட்டான். பாடல்கள் காதல் காட்சிகள் இதெல்லாம் இல்லைன்னா யாரும் போக மாட்டாங்க. காதல் வீரம்லாம் தொன்று தொட்டு தமிழருடைய சொத்து. அப்ப தமிழ் வழி வந்த கம்பர் அதை விடுவாரா? எவ்வளவு அழகா சொல்றாரு. பியூட்டிஃபுல்லா அந்த காதலை விவரிக்கிறாரு. இன்னும் பல இடங்கள்ல விவரிக்கிறாரு. ஆனா எல்லாத்தையும் சொல்றதுக்கு இப்போ நமக்கு வாய்ப்பு இல்லை. அடுத்தது ஃபைனலா அறம். நான் இதுக்கு என்ன சொன்னேன்? லேண்ட் சொன்னேன், வெல் சொன்னேன், அந்த ரிவர் பத்தி சொன்னேன், லவ் பத்தி சொன்னேன், அறம் பத்தி சொன்னேன். அறம் பத்தி சொல்லும் போது நிறைய விஷயங்களை சொல்லிட்டே போலாம். கம்பராமாயணம் முழுக்கவே அறம் தான். கம்பராமாயணம் முழுக்கவே அறம் தான். வாழ்வியல் விஷயங்களை திருவள்ளுவர் சொன்னது 700 பாடல்களை இவர் எடுத்து இலக்கியமா தந்திருக்காரு. அப்ப எதை சொல்றது எதை விடுறது? அதனால 2 கேரக்டர்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கிட்டு, 2 கேரக்டர்ஸ். 10 minutes. It's almost like okay, fine. முடிச்சிடுறேன். ஒரே 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. இந்த கும்பகர்ணன் கேரக்டர் ஒரு தியாகமான கேரக்டர், ரொம்ப தியாகமான கேரக்டர். அவ்வளவு பெரிய கும்பகர்ணனுடைய கேரக்டரை பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க உண்மையிலேயே அழுதுருவீங்க. அந்த மாதிரியான ஒரு கேரக்டர். அவன் என்ன பண்றான்? ஒருத்தரின் முன்னம் சாதல், சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்றான். ஒருத்தரில் முன்னம் சாதல், தான் இறந்துபட்டு அந்த காப்பியத்துக்கு வழிவகுக்கும். தான் இறந்தால்தான் அடுத்தது இந்திரஜித்து இறப்பான், எல்லாரும் இருப்பாங்க, ராவணன் இறப்பான், கதை முடியும். நான் நிறைய இருக்கு, அதெல்லாம் சொல்ல முடியல ஃபார் வாண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம். ஐ திங்க் I much dwelled on my first part and second part I don't have time. இந்த இடத்துல அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லிட்டு எவ்வளவு சொல்றாங்க. இந்த பக்கம் வந்துன்னு சொல்லிட்டு வீடனன் அவனை பெக் பண்றான், பெக்கிங். ஆனா கும்பகர்ணன் வரவே மாட்டேங்கிறான். செத்தாலும் அண்ணன் பக்கம் நடசா. அவன் செய்யறது தப்புன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும், ஆனா செத்தாலும் அவன் பக்கம் தான் சா. கை வெட்டுப்படுறான், இந்த கை வெட்டுப்படுறான், உடம்பு வெட்டுப்படுறான். ஆனா விழது ராமன் சைடு விழ. அப்பதான் ஃபைனலா என்னுடைய தலையை கொய்துங்கன்னு அவனே கேட்க. அப்ப கேட்கும்போது ராமனுடைய கைகளே நடுங்கு, மலர்கலங்கள் நடுங்கு. அதே மாதிரி வாலிவதை படம். வாலிவதை படத்துக்கு இன்னைய வரைக்கும் அந்த டிபேட் ஓயவே இல்லை. இன்னைய வரைக்கும் அந்த டிபேட் ஓயவே இல்லை. மறைஞ்சிருந்து அப்பேற்பட்ட வீரன் மறைந்திருந்து ஏன் காக்கலாம்? அதை கேட்டுட்டு எவ்வளவோ கேள்விகளை வாலி அடுக்கடுக்கா கேட்டுட்டே வரான். 3ல ஒரு ஸ்பாட் இருக்குங்கிறதுனால சூரியன்லயும் ஒரு ஸ்பாட் வேணும்னு நினைச்சாடா நீ? சூரியன் ஸ்பாட்லெஸ் ராமா, சூரியன்லயும் ஒரு புள்ளி வேணும்னு கேட்டியா? நினைச்சியா? அதனாலதான் இப்படி தப்பு பண்ணிட்டியா? உன்னுடைய வம்சத்துக்கே எழுத்து பண்ணிட்டிய. நிறைய கேள்விகள், பயங்கரமான கேள்விகள். ராமனால ஒரு பதிலும் சொல்ல முடியும். கடைசியா நீ ஏன் மறைஞ்சிருந்து தாக்குன? அந்த இடத்துல எப்பிக்கினுடைய ஹீரோ பேச முடியும். லக்ஷ்மணன் பேசலாம், அங்கேயே முடிந்தான் ராமன். அங்கேயே முடிஞ்சிட்டான், ஆல்மோஸ்ட் முடிஞ்சிட்டான். அப்பயே இவனும் புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டான். He dies. இது 2ம் அறத்திற்காக எழுதப்பட்ட ஒரு காப்பியம். அதனால எனக்கு I once again thank the Department of English, head of the Department of English, Dr. Shanmugam, and all my friends and scholars, research scholars, students, and above all, Dr. Karthik, for having given me this opportunity. Thank you very much, and we will meet once again in some other seminar. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your thought-provoking session. May I now invite Dr. S. Ayataraja, Associate Professor of English and Coordinator of IRC, to propose board conference.
Good afternoon, dear friends. In fact, I am really fortunate to propose a vote of thanks to this session that was presented by Professor Dr. Rahman, who is my teacher. In fact, sir, I went back to 30 years. In 1993, when I joined as a BA English student at the C. Mutluras College, when you were teaching English literature to us. In fact, great presentations, sir. Excellent lecture you provided today on reflections on Tamil culture in Ramayana. And you differentiated the portrayal of Valmiki's Ramayana and Kamba's Ramayana, the differences that we find. It is not merely a translation. In fact, it is a transformation, a complete, a new creation. And you mentioned that, especially you referred to சோழநாட்டு வீரர்களுடைய அந்த அம்பு மட்டும் கூர்மையானதல்ல, சோழநாட்டு பெண்களுடைய அந்த கண்களும் கூர்மையானதல்ல, இது இரண்டும் எப்போதும் குறித்தப்பாத ஒன்று அப்படி என்று சொன்னீங்க. அது மாதிரி உங்க பிரசன்டேஷனும் சரி சார், என்னைக்கு எங்களை ரீச் ஆகாம போனதே கிடையாது. All the ideas you presented in a crystal clear manner. So we got that all the ideas in our mind, especially related to land, love, virtue, river, and all these aspects in fact reflected the Tamil culture, and you brought all these important ideas. You used to make that common to uncommon, as Paul has presented in his Biography Literaria, uncommon to common, ordinary to extraordinary, and extraordinary to ordinary. And you made all these ideas in this way, and we understand that all the important aspects related to Tamil culture as presented in Ramayana. Really that I thank on behalf of the organizers, especially organizing secretary Dr. Rayas Karthikkumar. I thank you immensely, sir, profusely for having made a wonderful presentation. And you never missed that the contribution Annamalai University Tamil Department made to the publication of Ramayana. You mentioned that Chadayappa Vellal has been honored by Kamba in initially in once in 100 songs. Later that was not accepted by the scholars at the Chidambaram, and they changed it into that once in 1,000 songs. Am I right, sir? Yes, and in the same way that every 10 minutes in your presentation, you mentioned about the contribution of Annamalai University to Kamba Ramayana. That itself is a great sign, the gesture you have shown towards this great institution, Annamalai University, the contribution to Tamil culture and the Tamil literature. Thank you so much, sir, for having made that a brilliant presentation. And it was a great feat to it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome the dignitaries on the dance. Introduction.
The Tamil classic Tirukkural says, "True knowledge is an inner fortification that enemies cannot destroy, and is the ultimate impregnable defense. The way to succeed in any undertaking is to learn its secrets by taking the advice of the person who is an expert in it." Good afternoon, everyone. We welcome you all to the valedictory function of the IQAC-enabled RUSC 2.0 sponsored 2-day national seminar on indigenous literatures in India, organized by the Department of English, Annamalai University. One of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and help people in a way we couldn't as individuals. I invite Dr. D. Shanmugam, Professor and Head, Department of English and Director of the seminar for the welcome address.
Respected Deputy Director, IQAC, Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar, respected Dr. N. Saraman, Professor of English, retired, esteemed Chief Guest of the seminar, Dr. V. Vinod Kumar, the organizing secretary of the seminar, Dr. S.K. S. Karthik Kumar, former heads of the Department of English, Dr. K. Muthuraman, Dr. K. Rajaraman, Dr. C. Santosh Kumar, Deputy Directors, IQAC, my dear colleagues, the participants of the seminar, my dear PhD research scholars and students. Good evening, one and all. We have assembled here to mark the end of the 2 days national seminar on indigenous literatures in India and to complete the proceedings. Now, I have the privilege to extend my warm welcome to you all for this valedictory function of the seminar on behalf of the Department of English. First of all, I am very much pleased to welcome our respected Deputy Director, IQAC, Dr. Ramesh Kumar, who has consented to preside over this function. It is to be noted that under the guidance of his team only, our university was accredited with A+. Next. I would like to welcome our respected chief guest of the seminar, Dr. V. Vinod Kumar, Dean, Faculty of Languages, Bharatdasan University. In fact, his presence here seems to be like that of homecoming for us. Though he left us early from this university, his presence here, he proved himself that he is capable of setting a benchmark for multi-hyphenated academic achievements. He is very much kind enough to deliver the valedictory address. Welcome you, sir. It's my pleasure to welcome the organizing secretary of the seminar, Dr. S. Karthik Kumar, who worked hard for the successful conduct of this event, in addition to his duties in the department and in IQAC. I also welcome the plenary speakers, especially Dr. N. Saraman, who has enlightened the participants with his speech on reflections on Tamil culture and Tambaramai. I am very much pleased to welcome the participants who actively contributed to the successful conduct of this national seminar. I take this opportunity to appreciate the efforts of the participants. I know very well that you have worked hard to shine in your performances. I thank you all for your enthusiastic participation. Without your active participation, the seminar would not have been possible. Finally, I have the pleasure to welcome all my colleagues, deputy directors at IQAC, research scholars, and my dear students to this valedictory function. I welcome you all. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome. No person was ever honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave. May I invite the head of the Department of English, Dr. D. Shanmugam, to honor Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar, Professor of Horticulture, with a shawl and a medal. Thank you, sir. May I request Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar, Professor of Horticulture, Annamalai University, to honor Dr. Serama. Thank you, sir. I request Dr. S. Karthik Kumar, Associate Professor of English and Organizing Secretary, to honor Dr. B. Vinod Kumar, Dean, Faculty of Languages, Bharathidasan University, with the shawl and a memento. Thank you, sir. The people who have the willpower and persistence will attain whatever goal they desire in the manner they desire. Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar is a professor of horticulture at Annamalai University. More specifically, he is a floriculturist. He has more than. May I request Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar to present his presidential address.
Most respected chief guest of this function, Professor Vinod Kumar, and plenary speaker, Professor Charamon, and our learned Professor of the English, Dr. Shanmugam, and Director of the seminar, and my good friend and colleague, Dr. S. Karthik Kumar, and the dignitaries of the dais, teaching faculty, student friends, participants online and offline. Very good evening to one and all. And really, it's a very rare and very proud moment for me to take part in this seminar. Actually, I'm here to replace our director who was supposed to attend this meeting. And due to his personal commitment, he could not attend this, and hence I'm replacing this. And still, I feel great honor and proud to be present here and witness this event, because it is, I feel that indigenousness is there and it should be there at every field, not only in literature, even in agriculture. Because with that only the present day developments are happening, and the future need to propel based on the indigenousness what every society or a land race has got within it. So that is the most important concept which is need of the hour behind running these kind of seminars, particularly the seminar on indigenous literatures in India. And from the yesterday proceedings onwards, I am hearing from so many lead speakers. They are giving very valuable things that many India is meant for its diversity and uniqueness, and the diversity which allows an inclusivity of uniqueness for every diverse condition and every diverse entity. So in that condition, many dialects and languages are going away, are fading out of the focus just because of not focusing or not giving importance to the their indigenousness. So that is the most need of the hour. And we know pretty well that if language goes missing, or if an indigenous literature actually goes missing, we will be forgetting a language or we will be forgetting our memories. When we forget our memories, we will be losing our knowledge, culture, and taboos, ethos, or whatever is fixed with a society or a culture or a subset, and thereby that entire race and the language will one day miss out or fade out. So to retain that, we are in a condition to revive our indigenous technologies or indigenous knowledges in the form of literature. Because I can take one anecdote where when we deal with plants, we deal plants as an individual what do you call that, treasure. Every plant has got so much of treasure characters in it, and these characters are fixed by their genetic makeup or genes or the carrier mechanics that take those characters generation after generation, and that gives the utility tag to the future generation. So in that aspect, I can say for every culture or every society, the characters of that society or the features of that society are embodied in the form of literatures. There are different indigenous literatures. Every subset of society has brought its own indigenous its own characters that are really loaded on literatures. And when these literatures are crossing every generation, they are going along with traveling along with these generations, they will really bring up those characters. And to bring up any character of a gene, what is necessary is the environmental fact. And biologically, a gene is responsible for expression of 90%, 98% of its character. But 2% is actually governed by the environment, but that environment plays a major role. And likewise, even when we preserve these indigenous literatures and whatever the message these indigenous literatures they carry, that need to be brought out by the environment, and that need to be expressed by the convenience and by the opportunity given by that environment. And conducting these kind of seminars will really expose that environmental advantage to these indigenous literatures, and thereby the indigenousness of our past will definitely be carried over to the future. So that is the importance of this seminar. And with addition to that, I would like to mention one point, that bringing these indigenous literatures for future generation or preserving them and presenting them to the future generation should be in a way that it is accepted by our future generation. Because the carrier mechanics, what we had to carry our past memories or to carry our past literatures, were in the form of poem, or in the form of epic, or in the form of performance in singing, or in the form of what do you call Yalisai, or in the form of Villisai. They were the carrier mechanics. And in for present generation, if you look into our kids, they are actually versed with, or they are used up to this digital digital world, and they get, or they accept anything which is given in that carrier mechanics in the form of a digital literature. And these digital literatures are of many kinds, and too many new forms of many digital literatures are also going to be coming up in future. Say for example, even in video games, you can see in many Japanese games where Japanese epics or Japanese stories, older stories are given in the form of video games. And you have audio books, and we have comics. And in these forms, when our ancient literatures or our indigenous literatures are translated, definitely it will reach our future generation. And another important aspect is the which is required for our people who are working on linguistics, is to get used up to the advanced technologies, because the future will be ruled by, particularly in linguistics or in languages, future will be ruled by our digital technology like natural language processing. So development of natural language processing resources is very essential, and once endangered language or endangered dialect, if you want to preserve it, it is time to convert all the literatures which are available in that particular language in a digital form, and it has to be made available to those resources which are required for developing a natural language processing. So we have to go with the cross-working, that is, we have to go for interdisciplinary approach in reviving our indigenous literatures, and that is what we need. I think in that aspect we have to propel our research, and with this remarks, and I would like to say that this seminar has paved a way for many, it has paved a platform for many scientists to interact with young minds and to bring back them towards the indigenousness, or to explore the literary treasure which is available in indigenous literature. And in that way, I would like to congratulate the organizers and Department of English, and I would like to thank the Department of English for giving me this great opportunity, and I feel much honored to be here. Thank you, Anand.
Thank you, sir. Humility and pleasant words are the jewels that adorn a man. Dr. B. Vinod Kumar, Dean, Faculty of Languages, and Head of the Department of English, Bharat University, is here with us to deliver the valedictory address.
Most respected Head of the Department of English, Dr. B. Samu. Most respected plenary speaker, Professor N. Sarama. Most respected Deputy Director of IQAC, Professor Ramesh Kumar. My dear friend Karthik Kumar, the organizer of this two-day seminar on indigenous literatures in India. General professors from the Department of English, faculty members from other departments, research scholars, participants, both online and offline. A warm evening to all and all present here. It's indeed, as he said, it's a kind of homecoming for me. Whenever I get a chance, I never miss. So I try to make use of the opportunity to come and visit the department and my friends here. So in a way, I take this opportunity to thank Professor Karthi for providing me this golden opportunity. When he was asking for a plenary session earlier, I would not oblige, and finally I could come only for this valedictory session. But in fact, I was thinking about something that I could talk about, which is very much relevant and which is for some time being, lagging in our mind, and the contribution of a particular group of people to the indigenous literatures in India. That's what I thought. Which means what I am coming to say is that the travel narratives, the early travel narratives in India has not been given much importance in the Indian English literature, especially the literatures, the travel literatures written by the Muslim travelers in Arabic and Persian languages, which has not been given importance at all, which has been totally ignored. So generally, we would like to start with how the history is produced and why there is a necessity to have multiple histories or histories in fact, and how the colonial war always tries to come out with a single history, and what are the necessities that made us think of reviving our own history. Even now we are fighting for our own history. The historical background is always a problem for us, and we try to prove that whatever that has been missed in our past cultural history has to be written and rewritten in our own terms. From the colonizers' point of view, that we have been always given the history, but now we would like to write the history from the colonized point of view. The empire needs to write back to the center. So in that situation, how these travelogues, how these travel narratives provide us with some sort of insights into the past Indian culture, which has been much ignored by the colonizers. That's where I would like to start my speech. So what is the need for travel writing, first of all? What is the need for travel writing? And it was thought of as the travel writings always elevate and broaden the knowledge as a traveler, and the journey itself is a kind of an education. And it is also a process of civilizing and also discovering new lands and new peoples in their exoticness is also a kind of an education. And these travel writings, in fact, inform people about the lives of others, where they enjoy reading the travel literature without being involved in the danger and the exoticness of moving with the native people. Apart from that, these travel writings also presupposes the lives of mostly Asians and Africans, because these travel narratives were earlier written by the Britons, right, the Europeans, and how they projected the lives of Asians and Africans. If we presuppose that all these would be taken as a real account of the lives of the people, then we will be always in trouble. We will be always in trouble. For example, we could see that from between 1580 and 1630, most of the English plays will have Muslim characters as thugs, ruffians, blacks, Moors, and pagans, right, as villains, and they were portrayed in such a way. That takes us back to the Ottoman Empire, where the British lost their political power, and most of the British seamen and armymen were arrested and they were made slaves. So this is in fact reflected in the English plays in the form of how they portray the Muslims. So if we try to understand that is the real Muslim, it is not true. And similarly, the way that they portrayed Indians, because we could right from 1600, even 1579, because India has a record of the first travel of the Britisher to India as one British John Mildenhall, who comes as an ambassador of East India Company in the year 1599. But 20 years before 1579, we have the evidence of a Jesuit missionary who stayed in Goa for almost 35 years, and he has served the people there. So from that time onwards, the history always portrays the travel of the Europeans to India. But there is always a counter flow, where from India, people have traveled to Europe and they have settled, some have settled, and some have come back, some have written travelers, right? So in fact, these parts are never represented in the Indian history or even by the colonial history. That part is always missing. And especially, what about other communities in India? Why they do not prefer to travel abroad? Why Muslims? Because up to 1800, 6 travelogues have been written. Up to 1800, 6 travelogues have been written, of which you could say that 5 are written by Muslims and 1 by Armenian Christian. And he is Joseph Emin, an Armenian Christian who was born in Iran because I was talking about the history, and I will be focusing on only 4 books which were written by the Indian Muslims in Persian and Arabic, which have been totally ignored and where they don't belong to any literature in the world as such. Because 2 books have been already approved. The one is by Joseph Emin, is an Armenian Christian, was born in Iran and who settled in Calcutta for some time. And later he moved to different parts of Russia, Georgia, and where he gathered an army, and also he entered into a pact with the Georgian king so as to fight back the Ottoman Empire and to win freedom for his country. So now in Iran, he has been celebrated as one of the pioneers of Iran National Liberation Front, and he is now a hero of Iran now. But he does not belong to India, and he has written about in 1792. In 1792, he wrote a book, Life and Adventures of Joseph Emin, an Armenian, written in English by himself, wherein he talks about the Indian culture, wherein he talks about the final stages of Mughal Empire in India, where it is a kind of a cultural artifact, where we can make use of these instances to rewrite our own Indian history, which were missing in the colonial history. And the second one, which I am going to tell you now is Sheikh bin Muhammad. In fact, mispronunciation of Muhammad, right? Even Sheikh is not S-H-E-I-K, it is S-A-K-E, and his name remains so. Sheikh bin Muhammad, and who converted into Anglican Christianity, who published a book in 1794, The Travels of Deen Muhammad. The Travels of Deen Muhammad, and he married an Anglo-Irish lady, and he settled there in Ireland for some time and then moved to England, and he was the first entrepreneur from India. And he also accompanied an East India Company man to Ireland, and from there he moved to England, and he also conducted surgeries, and also was an entrepreneur. He introduced the Indian shampoo to the European market, and he enjoyed all the privileges of a Westerner, wherein he also states in his travels that there was no discrimination between an Indian and a white and a non-white, which is not seen in his lifetime, because that sort of privilege that he enjoyed. These periods, these days are before 1857, before the Sepoy Mutiny, because with the Sepoy Mutiny, with the first Indian, first war of Indian independence, the consolidation of the British Empire was done. So the attitude of the Britishers, the colonizers towards the colony changed only after this First World War. After the Sepoy Mutiny, right? First war of Indian independence. Before that, all these travel writers, all these travelogues clearly mentioned that there is no discrimination in the name of race or color or culture or whatever it may be. If at all any discrimination is found, there is a cultural shock which is expressed by these writers invariably. All these writers, when they were introduced to the Western world, when they saw the Western people, so there was a cultural shock which they registered. And in fact, one writer says that I look at them as the other, not that they looked at me as other. So with that sort of cultural understanding or interracial or intercultural understanding was there in India, which has been completely ignored by the colonial history. That's where I'm coming to, right? So I was talking about these two writers, and particularly this man, Sheikh bin Muhammad. If at all we could call him a diasporian, we can, because the diaspora originally means that a mass exodus of people, a forced migration. Of course, he migrated, right, and he settled there. If at all, is it a kind of a mass exodus. History says thousands of people settled in England during 1800. History is there. So in that sense, you can consider him. But most of the universities, except one or two, no university has included this travels as part of the syllabus. One or two universities I have seen, they have started Indian writing in English with Sheikh Dean Muhammad's The Travels of Dean Muhammad. This is the full title. The Travels of Dean Muhammad, a native of Patna in Bengal, through several parts of India, while in the service of Honorable the East India Company, written by himself in a series of letters to a friend. So it is about a series of 38 letters written to an unknown friend about his past history in India, his services with under the Nawabs and also East India Company, and his travel experiences to Ireland and then to England, and his marriage with Irish lady, and the final settlement. So this is how, and even for this writing, he had 320 patrons or subscribers whose names have been mentioned in the front pages of the book, because in fact it was written on the request of these people to know the culture, because either it is a kind of an exoticness, or really they wanted to know the Indian culture, or the Persian culture, or the Mughal culture, whatever it may be, right? So these people wanted to know the history and the culture of India, for which he has written this particular book for a group of specific audience, specific readers. This is how, and he is the first Indian. Is the first Indian to write in English about India. And the earlier one I was talking about Joseph Heming. He is the first Asian to visit England and write about England. And we have other four major writers. Number one is Sheikh Itizam, who has written a book on the Wonder Book of England / Europe, which was written in the year 1784 to 85. And the next one is Munshi Ismail. Munshi means a teacher. Munshi Ismail, he has written a book on New History in 1773. It is written in Persian language and later it was translated into Arabic. And Muhammad Hussain in 1775 to 76 he wrote. And the title of the book is Letters, Essays about the Conditions of the Lands of Europe and India, again in Arabic and Persian. Later these books were translated. And the last one, Abu Talib Khan, Mirza Abu Talib Khan. These last two people were believed to be the direct descendants of Prophet. Actually, they believe and they were given the title Sire for the descendants of the Prophet. So these people were believed to be the descendants, and they have written. And these two people enjoy the privileges in the Europe visit than the other two, because the first two, that is Sheikh Itizam and Munshi Ismail, never attempted to learn English. They traveled with their Persian knowledge alone, and they spent some time in England, and they also had a kind of interaction with the local people with a translator, and tried to establish their Persian or the Indian cultural aspects. They had a lots of debates with people, and they tried to establish the superiority of the Indian culture over the Western culture. And the last two, that is Muhammad Hussain and Abu Talib Khan, they are well versed in English, and they enjoyed all the privileges, and they were well received by the people. All these four books invariably talk about the superiority of the Indian culture and how women were treated, and how sexual licentiousness was in vogue at that time. and they were talking about how people flirted in the in St. James Park, even in front of the offices, and at times there was a debate where someone used to come out with an expression that Indian women are subjugated. Indian men always ill-treat women. That is a condition, and they also enjoy that subjugation. They also enjoy the oppression, for which these people objected to it and wrote them back that this is not the way to be understood. And particularly, I would say that the last one, Abu Talib Khan, came out with an essay stating that the title of the essay is Vindication of Liberties of Asiatic Women. Vindication of liberties of Asiatic women, vindication of those things which make the liberty of Asian women appear less than that of the Europeans. So what are the reasons that you approach or that you think about Indian women as they have lost their liberty when compared to the Western? Is that the liberty that you could see, the licentiousness that you can see in the public, and the prostitutes, and the government which takes care of the illegitimate children, the provision for the illegitimate children in England? All these things these writers have recorded in their writings, which is completely ignored, and they have upheld the values and the cultural, cultural values of Indian women through their writings. They wrote back to the center, they wrote back to the empire in a way. Probably, had they written that in English, it would have been censored at that time. So since they had written it in Arabic and Persian, only the later generations they were able to translate that, and these are available with us now. Okay, I'll come to the last part where we talk about homeless texts. The Canadian historian, Tavopoli, right, Turkey talks about the homeless texts. Homeless texts. These texts could be branded, could be identified as homeless texts because these 4 texts could be identified as homeless texts. He identifies Michael Fisher, the American historian, has written an article about this, and he says that he cites from Turkey, stating that these texts are homeless texts. Why they are homeless texts? They have written in Persian, they have written in Arabic. They have not been translated into English at that time. And these writers are identified as Indians. But these texts deal with the travels that they had in Europe and England, especially England, which was not accepted by the Britishers. So they don't belong, they did not contribute anything to English literature as such. Neither to Indian writing in English, as we could not see these writers are included as part of any Indian academia. But when we see that the Indian diasporians, Indian diasporic writers enjoy the privileges of being the writers of both the countries. You could see the recently published list of American writers. All our Indian writers who are Indian diasporic writers who settled in US have been included as part of American writers. They enjoy, and we also prescribe them in our universities. We also read them, and we also do research on them as Indian diasporic writers. We proudly call them Indian diasporic writers. I don't know whether they would really like to trace the route back to India, but they make their characters trace the route back to India, not their self, right? So they are included as part of American literature. At the same time, they are also part of Indian literature. But these writers, they hang in a kind of a three-circle where they don't belong to either India or England or to their native countries like Iran, Iraq. So this sort of problem arises, and it is time to acknowledge. It is time to acknowledge because these are all the cultural artifacts. They are readily available in translation. They are all cultural artifacts, and definitely they would add more value to the process of reconstructing our Indian history from the colonial point of view, not from the colonizers' point of view. So what I felt is that this is time that we rethink and try to revive indigenous literatures like this also, as Professor has rightly pointed out, the inclusivity which will lead to the development of indigenous literatures in English. So I hope for the past 2 days you would have been exposed to different kinds of indigenous literature, and this is also one sort of indigenous literature that we need to take home as a kind of I won't say it is a message, right? But this is a loud thinking that why not we do something for this kind of indigenous literature, and I hope this topic would fit into the canvas of this particular indigenous literatures in India, organized by Professor Karthik Kumar under the aegis of enabled by IQAC and sponsored by RUSA. So I thank the Department of English, the organizing secretary, IQAC, and RUSA for providing me this opportunity to be part of this. And thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for the enlightening session. I welcome Dr. S. Karthik Kumar, Organizing Secretary of this seminar, to propose the vote of thanks.
Most respected dignitaries on the stage and off the dais, participants online and offline, researchers and students. Good evening, every one of you. In fact, I wanted to be elaborate, but due to some developments, we are getting ready for another program, a pan-university program. The university is celebrating the International Women's Day, so we have to advance everything. So within 5 minutes, I have to complete. I would like to thank Professor Dr. Ramesh Kumar for having accepted our invitation to preside over the valedictory session. In fact, he said he was here to fill in the shoes of the director IQAC. It's true, but another way too, he also deserves this stage because he is one of the architects behind this seminar. You might have seen the invitation, the banner. Okay, everything was designed solely by him, and along with Mr. Jay Prakash. So it is nature's law that has brought him on this stage because he has been very much involved. More than me, he is involved in the seminar. So for everything, I thank him on this occasion. Thank you very much, sir. My sincere thanks go to Professor Dr. N. Sarama. His participation, his presence always gives us a sense of confidence. In fact, right from the beginning, his slot kept changing, but he never felt hurt. He said simply, I am always here. You can accommodate me in whatever slot I am ready to oblige with you. So it is those encouraging words, those support that help us to move ahead. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful plenary, and thank you for your continuous support. My thanks should go to our erstwhile colleague, but everlasting friend, Professor Dr. V. Vinod Kumar, who has come all the way from Trichy. He is holding more than one office in the university. He is the Dean of Languages. He is the head of the department. In addition to that, he is holding other responsibilities too. But
he has put aside all those words and he has come to participate and to associate himself in this seminar, certainly because of his love for the department and probably because of his love for me. So anyway, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Vinod Kumar for his questions, for his time, for his energy, and for his support. Thank you. My thanks were due to our Professor and Head of the Department, Dr. V. Shanmugam. He always says yes. Okay, he never interfered with anything, and he said okay for everything. Okay, it was that unconditional support that gave me the necessary confidence and courage to move ahead. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your support. I feel indebted to all my senior colleagues in the Department of English, Professor Dr. K. Muthuraman, Professor Dr. K. Rajaraman, Professor C. Santosh Kumar, Professor A. Selvaraj. It is their support and encouragement that I believe keeps me on the track. But for their support, I don't think that I could come up with such ideas. So on this occasion, I express my sincere thanks to all my senior colleagues for their guidance and moral support. My sincere thanks are also due to my colleagues and friends in the Department of English for their wonderful words of love and deeds of appreciation. I feel happy that I'm always surrounded by a wonderful team of colleagues who keep encouraging me in all the endeavors. Thank you, my dear friends. My sincere thanks also go to two of my friends, well-wishers, and companions. In fact, one of them happens to be my teacher too, Dr. Tyagarajan and Dr. Shanmugasundaram from Raja Sarfoji College. They have come just to participate in the seminar because of his immense love for me. So, on behalf of all of us here, I thank both of them. I take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers who have involved themselves in the various activities in connection with the conduct of the 2-day seminar. I know that they toil themselves a lot. I don't think that I can repay the debt of gratitude I owe them. And I know also that they don't expect anything from me. It was their love for the department, it was their love for the literature, and it was the love for me that made them work tirelessly. So all that I can do for you is to convey my sincere gratitude to you all. Thank you very much. My thanks must go to all the participants. Most of them have joined virtually. They are on the virtual platform. We kept changing the schedule now and then, but without any complaint, without any grievance, without any regrets, they were ready to accommodate themselves for the changes. In fact, there are participants from nearly 20 states, right from Jammu and Kashmir, West Bengal, Uttarakhand, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Pondicherry. There are about 100 participants representing at least 20 states of India. Friends, some participants, after having conducted this 2-day national seminar on indigenous literatures in English, I have come to know that still there are gaps to be filled. So I think that we can find another platform where we can fill those gaps. So with your support and with your cooperation, we will definitely come up with more programs on the similar lines. Please do extend your cooperation in our future endeavors too. This is also an opportunity for me to thank all the plenary speakers
Sister Dr. Candy Kumha, Dr. Yashdeep Singh, Dr. Shelly Noren, and Dr. Jnana Segren. So all their support never goes forgotten. So I take this opportunity to thank every one of them. So my thanks are also due to the administrative staff in my department and also in the department of, in the internal quality assurance cell of Annamalai University. I also thank Dr. Dhanasekaran from the Department of Horticulture and another colleague from the Department of Horticulture. So, because of time constraints, I could not elaborate, and I assure that with your support and courage, with your support and encouragement, we will come up with more programs, and I do appeal to you to extend the same kind of cooperation in our future endeavors. Thank you. Now we pass to each student. And there are participants there are some online participants from Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. For them, a happy New Year. Happy Diwali. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now let us all rise for the national anthem.